Hello everyone and welcome back to Learn English with Podcasts. I'm Jack.
And I'm Emma. In today's episode, we're going to explore the future tense in English. Understanding how to talk about future events is essential for making plans, predictions, and expressing intentions.
That's right, Emma. We'll break down the different forms of the future tense, explain how and when to use them, and provide plenty of examples and situations to help you grasp them more effectively. Let's dive in. Emma, let's start with the basics. What is the future tense, and why is it important in English?
The future tense is used to talk about actions or events that will happen after the present moment. It's crucial for expressing intentions, making predictions, setting plans, and discussing future possibilities.
That sounds straightforward. How many forms of the future tense are there in English?
There are several ways to talk about the future in English, including simple future will base verb, be going to base verb, future continuous will being form,
future perfect will have past participle, future perfect continuous will have been in form.
Each form has its own specific use, depending on the situation.
Let's start with the simple future tense. When do we use will to talk about the future?
The simple future tense, using will, is commonly used for making predictions, spontaneous decisions, offers, promises, and to express willingness.
Can you give us some examples?
Sure. Here are a few. Predictions: it will rain tomorrow. Spontaneous decisions: I'll help you with your homework. Offers: I will carry your bag for you.
Promises: I will call you later.
Willingness: I will do the dishes tonight.
So, if I decide to do something on the spot, like offering help, I would say I'll do it.
Exactly, Jack. Will is perfect for expressing decisions made at the moment or for making predictions about the future.
Now, what about be going to? When should we use that instead of will?
Be going to is used for plans or intentions that have already been decided before the moment of speaking. It's also used to make predictions based on evidence you can see or know.
Can you provide some examples?
Absolutely. Plans or intentions: I am going to start a new job next week.
Predictions based on evidence: look at those clouds. It's going to rain.
So, if I've already planned to visit a friend, I'd say, I'm going to visit my friend tomorrow.
Exactly, Jack. Be going to is great for expressing plans that have already been made.
Emma, how does the future continuous tense work and when do we use it?
The future continuous tense, using will being form, is used to talk about actions that will be in progress at a specific time in the future. It's also used to predict or ask about ongoing actions in the future.
Could you give us some examples?
Of course. Actions in progress at a specific time: this time tomorrow, I will be flying to New York. Predictions about ongoing actions: they will be working late tonight.
So, if I want to talk about something I'll be doing at a specific time, like having dinner at 8 p.m. tomorrow, I'd say, I will be having dinner at 8 p.m. tomorrow.
Exactly, Jack. The future continuous is perfect for describing what you'll be doing at a specific moment in the future.
Emma, what about the future perfect tense? When do we use it?
The future perfect tense is used to talk about an action that will be completed before a specific time in the future. It's often used to express what will have happened by a certain deadline.
Examples?
Sure. Actions completed by a future time: by next month, I will have finished my thesis. Another example: she will have left by the time you arrive.
So, if I'm talking about something that will be done before another future event, like completing a project, I'd say I will have completed the project by Friday.
Exactly. The future perfect is used to show that something will be finished by a certain point in the future.
Finally, let's talk about the future perfect continuous tense. When is this tense used?
The future perfect continuous tense is used to emphasize the duration of an action that will be happening up until a certain point in the future. It shows how long something will have been going on before another future event.
Can you give us some examples?
Certainly.
Duration: before a future time: by 2025, they will have been living here for 10 years.
Another example: when you arrive, I will have been studying for 3 hours.
So if I want to say that I'll have been working on a task for a while before someone arrives, I'd say I will have been working for hours when you get here.
Exactly, Jack. The future perfect continuous emphasizes the length of time an activity will have been happening by a future point. Let's go through some practical situations where these future tenses are commonly used. Sure. Let's look at a few scenarios. Situation 1, making predictions. Do you think it will rain tomorrow? Simple future. Yes, it looks like it will. The weather forecast says so. Simple future. Situation 2, discussing plans.
What are you going to do this weekend? Be going to.
I'm going to visit my grandparents. Be going to. Situation 3, describing future events.
This time next week, I will be relaxing on the beach. Future continuous.
That sounds amazing. I will be working, unfortunately. Future continuous. Situation 4, talking about deadlines.
Will you have finished your assignment by tomorrow? Future perfect.
Yes, I will have completed it by tonight. Future perfect.
Situation 5, discussing ongoing actions before a future event.
How long will you have been living in this city? By next year. Future perfect continuous.
By next year, I will have been living here for 5 years. Future perfect continuous.
Emma, we often hear shall being used in formal English to express future actions, especially with I, and can you explain how shall is used?
Absolutely, Jack. Shall is often used in formal contexts or British English to talk about future actions, particularly with I and we. It's also used for making offers, suggestions, or asking for advice.
Examples?
Sure. Formal future actions: I shall attend the meeting tomorrow. Offers: shall I open the window? Suggestions: shall we go for a walk?
So, if I'm asking someone if we should start a meeting, I could say, shall we begin?
Exactly, Jack. Shall is very polite and formal, perfect for these types of situations.
Emma, what are some common mistakes learners make with the future tenses and how can they avoid them?
A common mistake is confusing will with be going to. Remember, will is often used for decisions made at the moment or for predictions without evidence, while be going to is used for plans made before speaking or predictions based on evidence. Another mistake is forgetting to use the correct form of the future continuous or future perfect, especially when talking about ongoing actions or actions that will be completed by a certain time. To avoid these mistakes, practice by identifying the situation and choosing the tense that best fits it. Think about whether you're making a plan, a prediction, or talking about something that will happen at a specific time.
Emma, how do we combine these future tenses in everyday conversation?
Combining future tenses is all about understanding the sequence of events and the nature of what you're discussing. You might use be going to talk about your plans and then switch to will for spontaneous decisions or predictions.
Can you give an example of a conversation that combines different future tenses?
Absolutely. Here's a dialogue.
What are you going to do this summer? Be going to.
I'm going to travel to Europe. I've already booked my flights. Be going to.
That sounds exciting. I think I'll visit Europe next year too. Simple future.
You should. By then I will have visited all the major cities. Future perfect.
Emma, we've talked a lot about using will and be going to for the future, but sometimes the present continuous and present simple are also used to talk about future events. Can you explain how that works?
Great point, Jack. The present continuous can be used for future arrangements or plans that are already decided. The present simple is often used for scheduled events, especially with timetables or programs.
Examples?
Sure.
Present continuous for future arrangements: I am meeting my friend at 5 p.m. tomorrow.
Present simple for scheduled events: the train leaves at 9 a.m.
So, if I have a meeting scheduled for tomorrow, I could say I'm meeting with my boss tomorrow at 10 a.m.
Exactly, Jack. The present continuous is perfect for fixed arrangements, while the present simple works well for schedules.
Emma, how do we use the future tense in conditional sentences, like with if or when?
In conditional sentences, the future tense often appears in the main clause, while the condition, the if or when clause, uses the present simple. This structure is used to talk about possible future events.
Examples?
Sure.
First conditional: if it rains tomorrow, I will stay home. Present simple, simple future. Another example: when I finish my work, I will call you presents simple future.
So if I'm talking about something that will happen if a condition is met, like staying home if it rains, I'd say if it rains, I will stay home.
Exactly. The future tense is used in the main clause to show what will happen if the condition is fulfilled.
Emma, how do we form questions with the future tense?
Forming questions with the future tense usually involves inverting the subject and will. For example, will you or will they?
Examples?
Certainly. Simple future, will you come to the party?
Future continuous, will you be attending the meeting? Future perfect, will you have finished the report by tomorrow?
So if I want to ask if someone plans to do something, I'd say, will you join us for dinner?
Exactly, Jack. Just invert the subject and will, and you've got your future tense question.
Emma, we often use the future tense for making offers, suggestions, and promises. Can you explain how we do that?
Sure, we commonly use will when making offers, suggestions, or promises. These are typically more immediate or spontaneous actions.
Examples?
Of course. Offers, I will help you with that. Suggestions, shall we go out for dinner?
Promises, I will always be there for you.
So if I want to make a promise, like assuring someone I'll be on time, I'd say I will be there on time.
Exactly. Will is your go-to for promises and offers. Emma, do you have any tips for our listeners on mastering the future tense? Absolutely. Here are some tips.
Practice identifying the situation. Think about whether you're making a plan, prediction, or promise, and choose the tense that fits. Use timelines. Visualize the timeline of events to help decide which future tense to use. Listen and read. Pay attention to how future tenses are used in conversations, books, and media. Speak and write. Practice using future tenses in your own sentences and conversations to build confidence.
Emma, we've covered a lot of ground in this episode. What are your final thoughts on mastering the future tense?
Understanding and using the future tense is essential for effective communication in English. Whether you're making plans, predictions, or promises, knowing how to use these tenses correctly will help you express your ideas clearly.
I couldn't agree more, Emma. Future tenses are crucial for talking about what's yet to come, and with practice, anyone can master them.
Absolutely, Jack. We encourage all our listeners to practice these tenses regularly and incorporate them into their daily language use. The more you practice, the more natural it will become.
That concludes our extended episode on the future tense. We hope you found it educational and helpful in your journey to mastering English grammar.
Thank you for joining us on this detailed exploration of future tenses. We appreciate your support and encourage you to keep practicing and learning. Don't forget to subscribe to our podcast. Your engagement helps us continue to bring you informative and valuable content. Until next time, this is Emma. And this is Jack. Goodbye. Bye. Remember to leave a review and share this podcast with your friends. Together, we can learn and make a difference.